Hello and welcome to the astrology forecast for the week of June 9th. Coming at you a bit late. Very sorry about that. My name is Molly Flowers and I'm here to break down this upcoming week for you. I should have the week of June 16th and the following week, June 23rd, I believe, up for you shortly, as well as the general forecast for August. Okay, so where are we at as of June 9th? The red energy represents some stress amongst the planets in the heavens, and the green energies represent opportunity to bring stuff together in the midst of that stress. And then we also have some added stress on top of the general stress as well. So this week is breaking down to be very interesting. We also have a full moon on Wednesday, so this week is breaking down to be very, very interesting. The green days when there's opportunity, flow, luck, ease, and it's a little bit easier to move forward amongst the challenges. There's today, June 9th, and Wednesday, June 11th. The rest of the week is red. The rest of the week, it contains friction, challenges, tension, and a need for awareness, particularly as we get closer to the weekend in Mars square Uranus, which is a very, I'm not going to say negative, but it's a very challenging transit. So let's get into it. Yes, the poop could be hitting the fan this week as Mars, the planet of energy, action, and strength, squares off with Uranus, the planet of provocation, surprises, and sudden change. Strength tangles with sudden change this week. So take it slow this week. Take your time with important matters and keep your plans simple under this unpredictable and potentially dangerous and accident-prone time. Let's talk about work and ambition. The number one note this week is to avoid electrical work and major technology installations and upgrades, as they are subject to Mars square Uranus complications, which could be quite dramatic. What's also noteworthy this week is that Jupiter is now a quarter of the way through the 20-year business cycle, the 20-year Jupiter-Saturn cycle that started in late 2020. You might remember there was a big hullabaloo about this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that appeared right at the front door of Aquarius, the sign of technology and the new age and groups and all that good stuff. We're now at a milestone in the cycle. This is a call to check in and test the strength of the direction that you've been heading since about 2021. And make some decisions. This quartering phase is a decision point in the cycle. The transit itself can produce a feeling of stress, right? A feeling of got to do something. You may be feeling overworked, overwhelmed, or not quite sure how you're going to bring all the pieces together and make it work. Travel, paperwork, and legal issues are difficult now and subject to complications. So what's going on is this week, Jupiter is entering into a new sign, Cancer. Jupiter is entering into Cancer. And that is a good thing for the most part. Jupiter likes to be in the sign Cancer. Jupiter, abundance, optimism, good luck, expresses well through the sign of Cancer, which is family-oriented and nurturing and friendly and empathic, right? So we can really expand our sphere of influence and kind of build the nest egg, if you will. Cancer is all about the home, the family, the hearth, the nest egg. But with Jupiter moving into Cancer, those first steps into Cancer, Jupiter runs right into trouble with Saturn and Neptune, which have just entered into Aries. If you've been watching astrology for a while, at least for since 2025 began, then you're familiar with Neptune moving into Aries first time in very many years. Neptune's kind of hanging out at the front door of Aries, and Saturn joined Neptune at the front door of Aries in late May. So we've got these two planets hanging out at the front door in Aries, and as Jupiter moves through the front door of Cancer, Jupiter tangles with those two. So Jupiter moving into Cancer is a net positive. It's a really a positive event. But there are some difficulties as Jupiter moves through that front door and immediately maybe has a battle to fight, a metaphorical battle to fight, if you will. Anyway, Jupiter represents travel, paperwork, and legal issues. All of those are more difficult now and subject to complications. So let's talk about love and connection. Use a light touch with other people. Try to understand where they're coming from. Steer clear of bullies and unpredictable people. Warmth and comfort may be a little harder to come by this week. The planet of expansion is in the sign of warmth and comfort, home and hearth, but it's facing off with planets in Aries. So there's a little bit of uppity energy in the soup right now. Steer clear of bullies and unpredictable people. And especially with Mars squaring Uranus at the same time, that's a recipe for a lot of uppityness, if I'm being honest. Warmth and comfort may be a little harder to come by this week. People may be feeling resentful with Mars square Uranus at what they see as intrusions on their freedom. Uranus, the planet of freedom, squared by Mars. Yeah. So let's talk about health and physical energy. This is a safety first week. Mars square Uranus is a very accident-prone aspect. So stay off of a roof, stay out of dangerous places and situations, stay away from dangerous people and animals, because there's an explosive, provocative, tightly wound vibe hanging around in the air this week, especially as we get closer to the end of the week. Take it slow and keep your plans simple under Mars square Uranus. It's a double red, unpredictable and potentially dangerous and accident prone. Yeah. The signs most affected, probably on that physical level, by Mars square Uranus are Aries and Scorpio, the two signs ruled by Mars, Aquarius, the sign ruled by Uranus, also Taurus and Leo, which is the signs that Mars and Uranus are currently in. All right, so y'all especially need to take it easy, take it slow, be a little bit more careful than your usual, and let this go by before you tackle anything too complicated. Let's talk about the full moon in Sagittarius. All right, this is happening on Wednesday. We are halfway between eclipses now. We know this because the full moon is appearing square the nodes, which are in Virgo and Pisces. Okay, so we're halfway through. So there may be an eclipse-like quality to this full moon as we collectively check in with the previous eclipse season in March and the coming eclipse season in September. All right, so we're halfway in between, and this means we have a check-in with the past. We have a check-in with the future, too. So there may be a little bit of foreshadowing to this. You might see an important development related to an event that happened about 3 months ago, or a foreshadowing what's to come. Yeah. Jupiter is a key planet here, having rulership over the full moon and the north node, and it's also in mutual reception with the full moon, because Jupiter now in Cancer, ruled by the moon, moon now in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. Yeah. Jupiter has just stepped over the threshold out of Gemini and into Cancer and has become much happier in the process. But in this full moon chart, Jupiter is embroiled in conflict with Saturn and Neptune, showing some challenges. Confusion, deception, or just not knowing when to go full out and when to play it safe and conservative. Where is that balance? It's hard to find right now. So stay focused and don't let meaningless details, South Node is in Virgo, so don't let meaningless details lead you away from your big picture vision right now. It might be safe to pull back, safer. It might be safer. It might be more wise to pull back from major decisions for the moment, major moves, and just let some of the energy settle out before you make up your mind, especially if you're not feeling quite sure about what direction you want to head with the things that you've got going on, the things that you're doing. Now, I did pull some tarot for this full moon, as I like to do. And the first card I pulled was the Daughter of Wands. This is from the Way Home Tarot deck, which I love. The Daughter of Wands represents an offer of fun and activity, something very heartfelt, something really fun. How can you embrace more passion and childlike enthusiasm around this without spilling all your cups? Because the next card that I pulled, the support card, is the Five of Cups. And this is a card that represents emotional difficulties, sadness. Because 3 of the cups have spilled, but 2 of them are still standing. However, the figure in the 5 of Cups, there's not a figure in this deck, but in the standard tarot, there's a figure looking at, poring over, feeling sad about the 3 cups that spilled. Something fell apart. Something isn't working out. And eventually, it's going to be time to shift your focus so that you can see the 2 cups that are still standing. So... And this is that old cliche, no door closes without another door opening, right? So one situation has ended, but another situation is there, waiting for you to recognize it and realize that it's there and maybe pick up those cups. We'll see. After the full moon passes, we're going to be in the 3rd quarter of the lunar cycle. This is the immature waning phase. The moon's just starting to wane or distribute its lunar force, okay? So the first week of the waning moon is full of activity. The energies and the storylines that built up during the waxing moon continue to release and play out, especially in the house in your chart where the full moon took place. And the projects that you set in motion during the 3rd quarter will benefit from a sustained release of energy over time, right? Like an investment that pays out over time. Yeah, so this is time to put your stuff out there in the world. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.